It's another week, and it's time for yet another edition of Ram Center, your weekly look inside Angelo State sports. I am Russell. Joining me today is Cameron.
Hey, Russ, it's good to be here again.
On this episode, we feature highlights from the Lone Star Conference basketball tournament, Cameron and I ranting about NASCAR, and some late-breaking baseball highlights.
But before we get to that, let's take a look at another segment of the Angelo State Athletic Department show, Ram Talks Daily.
Speaking of cartoons, you ever seen Yo Gabba Gabba, though?
No, I hadn't seen that one.
Ronnie Gaines looks exactly like
Yeah,
DJ Lance.
You put that up.
Yeah, hey, Ronnie. Oh, excuse me, DJ Lance. You can call in if you want. You can tweet us. Hello, Rams fans. John Anderson here with the skip and two half people. We got one with no left arm and one with no right hand. So
Look at that, though, man. He looks huge.
Jared, do you know you look like someone that could be in the movie Gladiator right now?
I'll take that as a compliment.
Isn't Russell Crowe from Australia?
Yeah, he is.
He is?
Yeah.
Do you know him? Thought everybody knew each
Do
other.
you have a
there.
kangaroo? Adamson had a kangaroo.
I wish I did. I don't.
Do you call it a kangaroo or a wallaby?
Well, it's two different things.
What's a wallaby?
It's a small kangaroo. It's a different.
So it's two different things, like a
It's
big
like-
deer and a little deer? Just because
Yeah.
I call it a fawn, it's not a deer?
Yeah, it's basically what it is.
Oh,
I thought
it's a
they're-
Joey.
I thought they were
Because
smart.
I have a
baby-
hopper,
all right.
and I have, that's the big thing, and then I have the Joey.
They're the kids.
That's the little
A
thing.
wallaby is just a small species of kangaroo.
Okay, and this is for KP. KP, if you're out there, I heard how much you like our Knickerbocker interview. The other word I love that he has to say is wallaby. So say, I chased my wallaby down Knickerbocker.
I chased my wallaby down Knickerbocker.
KP, love. Trey, come on, man. Come on in. You broke in the interview. At least show your face. Trey, what do you think about these socks right here?
Swag.
Love them?
Love them.
That's a term the young people use for, cool. I know that. 'Cause I mean, right? Don't y'all think of me just like a gray-haired, balding 20-year-old? Because I'm like,
That's
I
exactly how I
identify with
describe
all
you.
y'all.
What's the next question you got, Johnny?
I'm gonna go ahead and ask about our budget because we got a freaking microphone on a bat. Come on, man. Did you do that?
Yeah, I mean, it was actually Wes Mantooth's idea, but honestly, it was a pretty good idea.
Let's just throw a little love. Wes Mantooth is pretty much an AV genius.
Yeah.
He's a genius in all things.
Yeah.
He's the Imelda Marcos of San Angelo shoes. I remember.
So you're saying he's
She
a
had
small
lot of
Filipino
shoes.
woman?
No,
Wes,
remember
you're
all
not
the
a small
shoes she had?
Filipino woman. But you might have nice shoes. What was that guy in Price is Right that they always used to yell for?
Bob Barker.
Bob Barker?
No, the other guy, though. He'd say, tell them what they've won.
Bob Barker?
No, it wasn't Bob.
I don't know.
Dave, I'm about to break your other handmade bone. Roddy. See? Mantooth does get a little pub. Nice shot, Mantooth. You can't even say no without an accent. Do you laugh with an accent?
I don't know.
Does he?
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
You ever thought about how weird that is when people laugh? They have it accented. Yeah, I've heard it. I know what you're talking about.
It's not
There he is. He laughs like a wallaby. We're gonna do 4 words, but we're gonna have the 4 words come down the line.
Ooh.
So Dave is gonna start the sentence. Clem is gonna be in middle relief, and Clem, your 2 words are Knickerbocker and wallaby. Brooks, your 1 word is clothes, and Dave, your word is blacktop.
I was playing basketball on the blacktop with my brothers.
And a wallaby walked in while we were on Knickerbocker.
And they close the park. Closed.
Wow.
Not
Yeah.
closed.
He's like the group partner that you don't want to work with.
That's it. Yeah.
You know?
You know.
You talking to me or Brooks?
No, yeah.
So hey, we were 3 for 3. We were batting out 1,000, and then we just went right down to 750.
Close the park.
Yeah, you stumbled around for it. You're like, they closed.
I wanted to make
The
sure I
park.
enunciated. I thought
Hey, there's no wiggling out of this one, Rams fans.
close. the park.
75% here for the Angelo State Rams is an F. 75% F. You know what? 91's an F. You guys really failed.
Once again, we here at RAM TV would like to thank the ASU Athletic Department for allowing us to use some of their clips for our show.
This past week, the annual Lone Star Conference Basketball Championship began in Allen, Texas. The Rams and Bells basketball teams both took part in the tournament. Let's take a look at some highlights. The Rams entered the conference tournament as the number 2 seed and advanced all the way to the title game. Along the way, they defeated the A&M Kingsville Javelinas and the Cameron Aggies before falling in the final game against the A&M Commerce Lions. Against the Javelinas, the Rams were led by the 21 points and 8 rebounds of Chris Jones, the 20 points of Marcel Holden, and the 19 points and 14 rebounds of DeMario Mayfield on the way to an 83-73 victory.
Coach, if you would, your initial thoughts on a ball game that saw your team build a lead and then withstand a solid challenge from Kingsville.
Yeah, it's March, and it's all about just winning the game, surviving and advancing, and we're thrilled to win. We have a lot of respect for Kingsville's program. To beat a team 3 times in one season is very, very difficult. I think Johnny Estelle is one of the best coaches in the league, and they've got good players, and we're just thrilled to win the game.
DeMario, the game from your perspective, you had 19 points, 14 rebounds. It's one heck of a double-double. You also had 3 assists and a steal.
You know, without my teammates, none of that would have been possible. You know, you got a guy, our point guard, Chris Jones, who's playing a solid game. Marcel Holden, who's an elite shooter. So, you know, without those guys, none of this is possible.
Tell us.
Like DeMario said, you know, I got great teammates. I mean, we share the ball. We got great motion offense, you know, get a lot of open shots, and my teammates found me.
We knew Kingsville had another shot in them. I thought, you know, they're a very difficult team to guard. They get going downhill on you with the dribble, and we look like a poised team out there tonight. We look like a team that had some seniors and had some composure, and give Kingsville credit for their comeback, but give our guys credit for finding a way to win our first game in March. Yeah, I thought both of them played great. You know, it started with their preparation this week. We rely on our seniors a lot, and DeMario and Chris had these guys ready to play tonight.
Well, it really wasn't be more aggressive. It was just like kind of play my game. You know, my teammates found me. Ran a couple of sets that kind of got me looks in our offense, and I got some good looks and got to the free throw line.
You know, we didn't do anything different. You know, Chris Jones is leading the Lone Star Conference in steals. You know, that's what he do. You know, he make plays on the ball, so, you know, credit to CJ. I mean, we just stayed with the game plan, just listen to our coaching staff and try to execute to the best of our ability.
Yeah, I think Chris and DeMario will be the first to tell you that we really don't put much stock in individual awards. You know, number one, you got to play on a good team to get those kind of honors. Number two, you got to have great teammates that screen for you, rebound the ball, pass the ball. You know, we're a real team. The one thing I will say about the all-conference is I thought that every player that got selected was very, very deserving. It's a great league this year. But I think on our team, Rajon Kelly is a guy that played like an all-conference player this year. And I know it's difficult to get 4 players on an all-conference team, but I think these guys would be the first to tell you that Rajon had just as good a season as these guys, and I thought all our seniors played great this year.
Up next were the Cameron Aggies. Chris Jones led the team with 22 points and 7 rebounds. DeMario Mayfield added 15 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 steals, while Rajon Kelly tossed in 10 points. The Rams ran away to a 76-53 victory in the second half. In the title game, the Rams fought valiantly but fell to the Texas A&M Commerce Lions 68-61. Marcel Holden led the way with 22 points. DeMario Mayfield added 10 points and 6 rebounds, while Chris Jones added 6 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists. The Rams will now play the Commerce Lions once again in the D2 Regional in Stephenville, Texas on Saturday.
Yeah, first of all, give Cameron a lot of credit. They got a really good team with good players, and Nate does a great job coaching them. We knew it was going to be a 40-minute game. I thought those guys played really well. They've got some seniors on that team that's had some great Lone Star Conference careers that I have a lot of respect for personally, and so we have a lot of respect for Cameron. As far as our team, the second half was one of the cleaner, better halves we played of basketball this year. We were locked in defensively. And I thought offensively we shared the ball and shot a great percentage. So it was nice to see us play one of our better halves of the season in what was the most important game of the year.
It was a great game. You know, like CJ said, credit to all my teammates. You know, without those guys, I would have never been in a position to actually even make a shot. So, you know, it was a great team win for us guys, and we got to get ready to go back to the rooms and prepare for either the winner of Commerce and Tarleton.
Nothing. That's basketball. Basketball is a game where some nights the shots go and some nights they don't. But what I've always tried to stress, one of many things I learned from Coach Knight, was that shooting doesn't dictate whether you win or lose. It's victory favors the team with the fewest mistakes.
We run set plays, for me to catch the ball where I want to catch it, and that's where I caught it, and I got some good looks.
Brentine and Blau played great minutes tonight. We don't win the game without Brentine and Blau. And the stat sheet doesn't always show everything, but big blockouts, big extra passes, defensive help, and I was really proud of those two guys. In a lot of ways, we go as far as those three big kids take us, and Blau and Brentine, and they work really hard, and I think this is their moment. I think March is their month. I believe in those guys. Our team believes in them, and I think they're going to play some great basketball here over the next couple of weeks. We do have one potential problem brewing. Chris and I are really superstitious. We ate at Chipotle the last time and we won today, so Chris and I want to go back to Chipotle. DeMario, being a Georgia guy, wants to go get a Texas steak. So we're really in a crossroad here with our program. So if you see half our team at Chipotle, don't think we're a broken team. It's just that DeMario and some of the guys are getting a steak.
The Bells entered the tournament as the 8th seed and were sent home in the first round after being defeated by number 1 seed West Texas A&M. The Bells were led by the 13 points and 4 steals of Michelle Rosewell and the 9 points and 8 rebounds of Diamalisis Rivera.
Yeah, obviously it's not fun to get beat like that, but WT, they're not only one of the best teams in the conference, they're one of the best teams in the country. I thought our team showed a lot better fight second half. Michelle, she came out, played great. She was our best player on the floor today, offensively, defensively, leadership wise. She's a great person. She's going to do big things in her life, and I'm sorry the score I didn't like this for, but
I don't know. I just wish that we would have came out more prepared. We knew what they were going to do. We just came out kind of flat, and after that we couldn't really catch up. No matter what it was, there was too big of a gap.
Honestly, like Coach said, we did come out kind of flat the first half. I wish we would have came out like the second half. I think we could have did better. I think our shots, we could have took better shots. I feel like we could have played as a team more.
Well, the young lady sitting right next to me, I think is one of the best freshmen in the league. Very, very proud of what she does on a daily basis. She spends time in the gym. She's committed to our philosophy defensively. And on top of that, she's a great person. Those kids in that locker room, the kids that are on our roster, they're good people and they work hard. We're missing some pieces right now. We're not a bad basketball team. We've just got to get a few more pieces to the puzzle.
Rams baseball and Bells softball teams are both off to hot starts this year with a record of 14-1 and riding a 13-game winning streak. Kevin Brooks, John Anderson, and the team is looking to dominate the Lone Star Conference this year. As part of the winning streak, the Rams completed a 4-game sweep of the Cameron Aggies. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from the series.
The Rams baseball and Bells softball teams were in action the past week and a half after several weather delays due to ice and snow. On Sunday, March the 1st, the men swept a doubleheader from the Cameron Aggies, winning 6-3 in the first game and 5-4 in the nightcap. In the opener, Steve Neymark led the Rams to victory behind 6 strikeouts and 7 hits allowed. He earned his 3rd win of the season, while Dylan Becker picked up his 2nd save of the year with 1 inning of no-hit relief. Offensively, Newan Norca led the way with a 2-run homer in the bottom of the 6th inning. Overall, the Rams pounded out 11 hits and pushed across 6 runs. In the nightcap, Blake Bass picked up his 4th win of the season behind his 6 strong innings of work that included 7 strikeouts and only 1 run given up. 3 relievers combined to shut down the Aggies, with Dylan Becker picking up his 2nd save of the day and his 3rd of the year. On Monday, the 2nd of March, the Rams continued their hot streak, once again sweeping the Aggies 6-5 and 4-2. Both games featured thrilling come-from-behind wins, with the opener featuring a walk-off 2-out game-winning single by Newan Norca. On March the 7th, the Rams swept a doubleheader from Tarleton, outscoring the Texans 28-2 combined in both games. After a gut-wrenching 3-1 loss on Sunday the 8th, the Rams baseball team now stands at 16-2 with a 6-1 conference record. Offensively, the Rams have been led by the 4 home runs and 15 RBIs of J.C. Snyder and the 4 home runs and 14 RBIs of Newan Norca. Snyder also leads the team with a .453 batting average. First baseman Brett David has contributed 3 home runs and 21 RBIs to the hot start. Defensively, the team has been led by the arm of Steve Neymark. Neymark carries a 4-0 record and an amazing .77 earned run average. That's right, 0.77. He has also recorded 52 strikeouts on the year. Blake Bass has also contributed some fine pitching with his 5-0 record and equally impressive 1.54 ERA. On the back of this impressive pitching staff and offensive firepower, the Rams set a school record with a 15-game winning streak early on in the season. Like their counterparts, the Bells softball team has rocketed to a hot start this year. With a 15-1 record, the Bells are looking like a national championship contender once again in 2015. Here are recent stats from their last 4 games. The Ram Bells softball team was in action as well on the 1st of March, sweeping a doubleheader from the Texas A&M Kingsville Javelinas. In the first game, Kennedy Urbani ran her record to 7-0 on the young season by throwing 7 innings of 4-hit ball, including 2 unearned runs and 8 strikeouts. Offensively, Lanny Robinson and Rachel Moore had 2 RBIs, and Tina Cisneros went 3 for 3 on the day. In the nightcap, the Bells bats came alive to the tune of 10 hits and 8 runs pushed across, allowing Brandy Marlett to pick up her 6th win of the season. Marlette struck out 6 batters and allowed only 4 hits on her way to the shutout. The game was called after 5 innings due to the run rule.
With the Daytona 500 now completed, the 2015 NASCAR season is in full swing. Russ and I sat down last week to talk about the sport of NASCAR in general. Here's our take.
Well, Cameron, the Daytona 500, like you just mentioned, was held a couple of Sundays ago, and it was won by Joey Logano, and that's really not germane to our discussion today. See, NASCAR fans, I can use big words too. It's not germane to our discussion. However, let's talk a little bit about NASCAR. Tell me what you know about NASCAR.
What I know about NASCAR, there's cars, obviously. I mean, the only thing I know about NASCAR is that they go around the track like 80 million times, and people seem to enjoy it.
What is what would you say is the typical perception? What is the typical NASCAR fan in one word?
Redneck.
There you go. That's the word I was looking for. That is indeed the typical perception of a NASCAR fan. I tell you, to go back a little bit about how NASCAR got started, I don't know if you know this, but NASCAR got started in the 20s during Prohibition era. A bunch of these, for lack of a better term, hillbillies, back up in the hills, Appalachian foothills, would run moonshine to avoid the federal government and whatnot. And then when Prohibition was repealed, they would start tricking out their cars and would run moonshine deep down south to avoid the revenuers. You know, if you ever watched the old Dukes of Hazzard show in the, I guess, the 70s and 80s, they kind of got started running shine. But in the 40s, 50s, they started racing on the beaches of Daytona, and they formed an organization, NASCAR, which stands for the National Association of National Automotive Stock Car Auto Racing. something like that. Anyway, but they formed a group, and in 1959 they held the first Daytona 500, and it was pretty much just a bunch, like you said, a bunch of dumb rednecks. Well, not dumb, just a bunch of crazy rednecks driving around in circles.
What year was this?
1959 was the first Daytona 500. But it was kind of a regional sport for many years. But in 1979, there was a perfect storm, they called it, that happened that turned NASCAR into, almost overnight, turned into a national phenomenon. Let's take a look at this clip, and we'll come back and discuss it afterwards.
Sunday, February 18th, 1979. A blizzard has left the Midwest and most of the Northeast buried under as much as 30 inches of snow. Meanwhile, in northern Florida, CBS was preparing the first ever live broadcast of the Daytona 500.
Who was going to watch cars run around in circles for 4 hours was always the question.
But with several technical innovations, CBS was hoping to make that time fly by. For the first time, viewers would be right next to the driver, thanks to an in-car camera. CBS also debuted the track-level camera. These days, they're robots. In 1979, they needed human operators.
The cameraman, a fellow named Joe Sakota, volunteered to do this camera with very little protection other than a motorcycle helmet. His instructions were, if you see a car break away, duck down behind the concrete.
Live from Daytona Beach, Florida, a CBS Sports Special, the 1979 Daytona 500.
The field was prime. Richard Petty, Darrell Waltrip, and driving the number 2 car, a 27-year-old rookie named Dale Earnhardt.
I think the competition that year was incredible. And it was anybody's race 2/3 of the way down.
2 laps to go to decide the most incredible Daytona 500 in history.
With only 5 miles left in the race, Donnie Allison, who'd never won the Daytona 500, had the lead, with 2-time Daytona champion Cale Yarborough on his rear bumper, as he'd been for the last 19 laps.
The white flag is out. 1 lap to go.
I glanced in the mirror in the middle of 1 and 2 and saw Cale going down. And that's when I decided, no, he's not coming under me, so I started down.
Donnie wasn't going to let him through. You know, he'd lived his entire life to win this one race, and it was there. It was in 1.5 miles. So there wasn't any feather footing here. This was flat out, full bore.
It's all come down to this. Out of turn 2, Donnie Allison in first. Where will Cale make his move? He comes to the inside. Donnie Allison throws the block. Cale hits him. He slides. Donnie Allison slides. They hit again. They climb into the turn. They're hitting the wall. They're head on the wall. They slide down to the inside. Let's watch those third-place cars. They're out of it. Who is going to win it?
With Allison and Yarborough out of contention, the race was hurtling to a chaotic finish.
Now, our lead cameraman is no longer with the leader because those 2 guys are no longer the leader. It's now Petty, but we lost track of 3rd place.
Race announcer Ken Squire helped CBS locate the new leaders.
Petty, down the back straightaway come the leaders now. 2 cars are out. In the backstretch are the leaders.
Ken is imploring us in the truck, verbally telling us where Petty is.
They're still up in turns 3 and 4. The leaders are up in turns 3 and 4.
CBS's cameras found the leaders just a quarter lap before the finish.
Here they come. Waltrip trying to slingshot. Petty is out in front at the line. Waltrip. Petty wins it.
Richard Petty had won his 6th Daytona 500 in thrilling fashion, but the excitement was just beginning.
Well, you got to document him coming down pit road and the crew jumping on the car and the excitement of that. But now, I'm seeing on one of the monitors, the blimp, there's a fist fight going on the backstretch.
And there's a fight between Cale Yarborough and Donnie Allison. The tempers overflowing. They're angry. They know they have lost.
In fact, the fight was between Cale Yarborough and Donnie's older brother, Bobby Allison. who after finishing 11th in the race had stopped to offer his brother a ride back to the garage.
And Cale walks over to Bobby's car. He says, "It's all your fault, you son of a you've been blocking all day," and punched Bobby.
I just really couldn't help what happened. I couldn't control myself.
I looked and a few drops of blood hit down on my lap. And I said to myself, I have to get out of the car and address this right now or run from him the rest of my life.
I was raised with Bobby. I've seen that look on his face before, and I knew what was going to happen. Somebody was going to get punched.
So I climbed out of the car, and of course, my story is that he started beating on my fist with his nose.
For millions of snowbound Americans, the excitement of the 1979 Daytona 500 was the perfect introduction to the world of NASCAR. For NASCAR, it was the perfect storm.
When you pick up the papers the next morning, and it's the lead story on the front page of the New York Times sports section, I mean, you know you've hit a home run.
All of a sudden, on a Monday morning in New York, we were elevator talk.
Well, that kind of explains what happened and why NASCAR got so popular in America and even worldwide now. It's almost a worldwide phenomenon. But let me ask you a question. In American professional sports, what do you think is the number one money maker in American sports? Number one sport?
American football.
Exactly. You know what number two is?
NASCAR.
Exactly. I couldn't believe it either when I looked it up. NASCAR is the number two money-making sport in America. I would thought it'd be basketball.
I would imagine. I mean, look at the crowd. That arena is what I don't know if you can call it an arena.
Over 100,000.
Over 100, easy.
Yeah. It's and it's even. I mean, in 1979, for example, they talk about a $60,000 car being wrecked. Now you're talking $1 million, $2 million alone in a car, and they crash them things up like they're in a demolition derby.
Right.
Where's all that money come from? Well, I'll tell you where it comes from. You see the stickers on their cars? They got every inch of them cars
advertisements all day. Absolutely.
I've seen Viagra advertisements, beer, tobacco, even though they're trying to diminish that advertising thing. The National Guard.
M&M's.
True Value Hardware for a while sponsored a car. Home Depot, the Home Depot car, and Lowe's, and on and on and on it goes. But it just boggles my mind how overnight, because of one race, one storm, and two rednecks getting in a fight on the infield after the race happened, this blew this phenomena up. It was a southern phenomenon. It got blown up into a nationwide phenomenon. In fact, there's drivers from worldwide, international drivers driving NASCAR now. Juan Pablo Montoya, among others. And as a matter of fact, where the Indy 500 used to be the biggest race that's watched, not no more. The Daytona 500, year in and year out, has been the most watched race every year.
I thought Daytona 500 was always the
Indy.
That's the one I know.
Yeah,
by heart.
Yeah, up until 1979, the Indy 500 had consistently beat out ratings-wise the Daytona 500, but not no more. It's a huge thing. Of course, you can add in legends like Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Richard Petty. And the thing about that race in '79 is nobody hardly remembers that Richard Petty won. All they remember is the fight, the big wreck at the end of the fight. But Richard Petty won
who remembers who won?
I know.
We want to see the wreck.
The fights. Do you go to hockey to watch hockey?
Exactly. I want to see a fight.
Right. We go to watch the fights. Right. Of course, we're not hockey fans. Exactly. I'm not anyway.
Yeah. Exactly.
But maybe hockey fans go to watch hockey. Not me. It's like the old joke goes. I went to a boxing match and a hockey game broke out. But anyway, that's our take on NASCAR. We hope you enjoyed it. Join us next week. I don't know what should we riff on next week. We've hit baseball. We've hit basketball.
We hit baseball?
No, football. I'm sorry, we hit the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, you're right.
Super Bowl, basketball,
NASCAR. We'll come up with something. You got to, and matter of fact, you got to stay tuned to watch it. Join us next time on Ram Center for Cameron and Russell, riffing on sports. We'll see you. Recently, Ram TV was able to acquire the use of an aerial camera drone. For our footage, we decided to take a look at some aerial views of the sports facilities here at ASU. Check it out.
Well, that brings us to the end of yet another edition of Ram Center on Ram TV 6.
We hope that you have enjoyed the highlights, rants, and footage this week. As always, you can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. In fact, here is a short promo of our social networking sites. Check it out.
Thank you for watching again this week. We will see you next time on Ram Center.